Hello and welcome to the Piping Show from the National Piping Centre. My name's Finlay MacDonald, and please remember, if you do like the content we produce here, like and share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the National Piping Centre. Our guest today is Anna-Wendy Stevenson. I'll be having a chat with her later on. Anna-Wendy is the course leader for the BA Applied Music course at the University of Highlands and Islands. Right now, let's go to Helen Urquhart for this week's news.
This coming weekend sees the first big event of the summer in New Zealand. The Strohan Gathering is hosted by the St Andrews College with the Canterbury Caledonian Society Pipe Band. The event is free to attend. There's solo piping, Highland dancing, solo drumming and pipe band contests. It all takes place this Sunday, the 4th of December. The Competing Pipers Association have launched a short survey about junior contests and young people taking part in solo competitions. If this is you, please go to facebook.com/competingpipers to take part, as they would love to hear your views. The Competition League for Amateur Solo Pipers has its next In Conversation With event this Sunday, the 4th of December. Glenn Brown will talk about reed manipulation. It's open to members of the CLASP, so if you would like to join, head over to the CLASP website to register and book your ticket now. Entries are open for their next in-person contest, which will happen on the 14th of January. You can find out all the details about all their events at www.theclasp.co.uk. Entries into the National Piping Centre Junior Contest are filling up fast. In the under 15 category, events 6 and 7 are now full. In the under 18 category, events 1, 2 and 3 are very nearly full. And in the Chanters, there are plenty of spaces left in events 8 and 9. So if your young piper would like to take part, please head to our website and register them soon.
Hello there. This week I have an artifact for you from the same collection that we were looking at last week, donated by Bob Brown's grandson. And this is a picture of John Ban McKenzie. And it's a photo I've never seen before, so I think it might be a one of a kind. John Ban McKenzie was born in 1796 in Auchilty, and would go on to be taught by Donald Moore McLennan, John Big McCrae, who was the piper to the Earl of Seaforth, and most importantly, John Mackay of Rassay, who was Angus Mackay's father. John Ban was a very successful competitor in the early days of piping competitions. In 1823, he won the prize pipe at the Edinburgh competition, and in 1835, the Edinburgh competition offered a gold medal for former winners of the prize pipe. He won that inaugural competition, and along with it, the title of the King of Pipers. That competition went on to be held 3 more times, and at all 3 of the contests, they were won by his pupils. John Ban was also involved in the early days of the Northern Meeting competitions. He won the prize pipe at the Northern Meeting in 1849, and went on to win the gold medal for former winners of the prize pipe in 1852. John Ban was known as one of the last complete pipers, in so much as he could make the instrument, everything including the bag, the reeds, the actual pipes themselves. He could compose the tunes that he played, and he could perform them to the highest standard. To put that into perspective, from 1846 to 1854, he provided the prize pipe for the Northern Meeting competitions, including the prize pipe that he won in 1849. John Ban isn't particularly remembered as a composer, but he did try his hand at it, and his most prolific tune to come down through the ages is certainly his father's lament for Donald McKenzie, which he wrote on the tragic passing of his son at just 30 years of age following a bout of illness of smallpox. John Ban McKenzie was the piper to the Marquis of Breadalbane. You might remember, if you've watched previous episodes, that it was a Marquis of Breadalbane that assisted Queen Victoria with finding her first sovereign's piper. Initially, she'd asked John Ban to be her piper. He very famously turned her down, and it was through his recommendation that the Marquis of Breadalbane would recommend Angus Mackay to become her first piper in 1843. While turning down the Queen's offer is what John Ban is best remembered for, his longest lasting legacy will undoubtedly be his teaching, having taught pipers such as Donald Cameron and Alexander MacDonald, father of John MacDonald of Inverness.
So, Anna-Wendy, thanks for coming in to the National Piping Centre.
Thanks
for the
for
piping
inviting
show.
me.
We've been working a lot together recently on lots of different projects and really cool ideas, which we'll talk about later. But I guess going back to the start, we've known each other quite a while. Played music in various different places across the world, and we were just chatting there. One of the most memorable ones was the Barbados Celtic Festival a few times many years ago.
That's right.
And it's always been good fun to hang out and play tunes. So welcome, and we're here to talk about piping, but also your role as the programme leader for the BA Applied Music with UHI and some of the cool things that we're doing together. So I always ask all the pipers that come in, how did you get into playing? So I guess you're a fiddle player.
Yeah.
How did it all start for you?
So, my dad's a violin maker, so I think I knew about fiddles from ever since I can remember, and my grandfather was a composer, and so I was brought up around music, and I first started violin lessons, not fiddle lessons, when I was 10, and I remember going to, I think it was a Dougie MacLean concert. Well, in fact, it was Dougie MacLean at the Folk Club in Pennycook Folk Club at the Navarre House Hotel. And my dad had just been repairing Dougie's fiddle. He'd just come back from a tour in Australia and it had been smashed to smithereens. And so my dad took me along to that concert, and I saw Dougie play traditional fiddle music, and I just was blown away by the fact that he wasn't using music, and I loved the fact that Dougie also wrote his own tunes, and I really loved his tunes and just loved it, and I wanted to be able to play like that. So I joined the Edinburgh School Strathspey and Reel Society with Isla Stephen. Okay. And then I left school. When I left school, my first job was with Wildcat Theatre Company, playing fiddle in the Chivy at the Stag and the Black Oil with Angus Grant, Jr.
Yeah.
And I was also reminded then, just like about the repertoire that he was playing. I really liked it, and so I just, got into traditional music through various different unusual routes. Mm-hmm. And then I studied classical music, so I did like the London College of Music diplomas. I did them at Napier University, and then I went to Texas for a year, as one does, to study classical music. And when you go and you meet people and you're abroad, you end up kind of reflecting more on where you've come from. So I found that I was playing more traditional music, and when I returned to Edinburgh, I did my master's in anthropology, and I looked at traditional music, and I kind of did a lot of my research for that master's degree in the pub and getting into sessions. So I kind of really got embedded in the Edinburgh traditional music scene, which was absolutely amazing. This is like the mid-1990s.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of maybe a bit later than that I started to get to know you. And it was a really kind of heaving, hoaching scene. And so that's how I got into traditional music. And then the rest is history.
Yeah, we were chatting about it just recently, that it used to be when I started in '96 at the Academy, and at that time there weren't a huge amount of sessions in Glasgow. There were some of the Irish sessions, like Sharkies and the Clutha, I think, and but we always used to jump in the train through to Edinburgh, and it was like we'd go to Whistlebinkey, Royal Oak. The Tron
was that big table.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
And Edinburgh seemed to be the real focus of that at the time. And then I guess it wasn't until, just after we were at the Academy, and guys like Adam Sutherland and all, Ross and stuff, we started doing the sessions in the Ben Nevis, and I guess that was the kind of start of it, maybe shifting a bit over to Glasgow in terms of those big kind of wild sessions. But yeah, it was good times in Edinburgh. And,
Yeah. We had a street, I think it was Royal Park Terrace, wasn't it? Where we had folk flats, weren't they? Trad flats.
Yeah.
So we had the boys in one, and I was in the girls' one flat. And it was really great times. I mean, we were industrious in every way, weren't we?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
A lot of learning taking place.
Yes, yep, that's
Placement.
it. Learning on the job. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But I guess you, in your role now, you're kind of heading up the BA Applied Music course. And can you just give us a wee bit of detail on what that is, those who don't know, like how you run it? Because I think it's really amazing how you run it so widely, and the online elements and the well, you tell us.
Okay, that's all right. So yeah, Applied Music. So Applied Music came to the University of the Highlands and Islands in 2012. Some people might be familiar with Applied Music. Previous to that, it had been there was an Applied Music course that was delivered at Strathclyde University, and my colleague and friend Mark Sheridan brought Applied Music to the University of the Highlands and Islands, and the mission was to be able to deliver this innovative degree, but in a different context. So the University of the Highlands and Islands was established as a university in 2012, and this was going to be, and has been, pioneering in the UK, and the first degree that is practical, creative, and uses blended learning. So we were using the term blended learning for years, and a lot of people didn't know what we were talking about. So, but now I think people have become familiar with it. So the Applied Music degree is offered through the University of the Highlands and Islands, and we've got students enrolled on this degree everywhere. And we've been running for 10 years. It's multi-genre, which makes life it's really a rich experience if you're on the course, and if you're a traditional musician, encountering other genres and making music and being really creative, because creativity is a really big part of this course. We've got students in currently, I've got a piper in America at the moment, which is fantastic. And we've got students in Shetland, the Outer Hebrides, Central Belt, quite a lot of students in Glasgow, Edinburgh. So it's quite a student-centred programme, and it's delivered online, combined with residencies that take place in different locations in Scotland and online throughout the year. So students that get involved in this course come to Stornoway for a week in April for their performances. We kind of hire out Anne Lunter Art Centre and it's a bit like a festival, to be totally honest. It's a week jammed with workshops and performances and collaborations. And we have a residency going on right now, actually, in Glasgow and in various different places, and our students are networked together on an education project with schools. So we have a residency in Inverness as well, and so we're very accessible. That's probably one of the key parts. But another key part to Applied Music is that maybe makes it different is that students enrolling on the course get to select who their performance practice tutor would be. So we've got students that are taking lessons with tutors that they want to, because they want to have a face-to-face lesson. I'll set them up with somebody local to them. Mm-hmm. Or else a student might choose to get lessons from somebody online. We've had a bass player having lessons from Carol Kay, who was the bass player from the Beach Boys recordings, and lessons in Nashville and all over France. And so it just gives you that, it's a different take. It's a different take. It's been really rich. I'd say we won the National Collaborative Award in Teaching Excellence, only one of 3 university courses in Scotland to get that award last year, awarded by the Higher Education Academy. And for the last 4 years, which is amazing, we have had 100% in our national student survey. So our students, that's voted by our students.
Yeah.
So the experience is different, but obviously quite rewarding, and we're very proud also of our graduates, many of whom are traditional musicians.
Yeah.
But one of the things is that the pipers get the opportunity to engage with the National Piping Centre.
Yes, they do. Yep. I was just thinking there actually. It sounds amazing, and I think to me what's really cool about what you've done is that you designed it that way instead of, I think some places, some people have had to adapt to the online and the blending thing, whereas you had designed it like that in the first place, which of course makes it like just such a more holistic experience. And having the residencies, it sounds great. And you know, as you say, I've spoken to lots of your former students and current students who love it. And you know, for us, it's great with the partnership we've got with the Piping Centre, where we kind of help out with all the piping tuition. And I guess we should probably talk about that relationship. And you know, we do the HNC, HND, which could possibly then lead on to doing the 3rd and 4th years of the applied music course.
Absolutely.
So for us, the really exciting thing for us here is that it gives another option. It's another pathway for people studying, and it's not. There's not just one way of getting a degree now in traditional music. There's, you know, it's opening up other pathways, which I think is really exciting.
Absolutely, a great opportunity, and an opportunity. You know, sometimes people want to have that experience of the continual face-to-face, and HNC can be really a supportive environment, and HND, and to immerse yourself in the piping centre as a piper, and then the BA Applied Music as a 3rd year option gives students the chance to, you know, have some flexibility as well, because during the week, a typical week, you know, you're engaged in a video conference. We don't call them lectures because they're kind of discussions. We use a method which we call a flipped classroom method. So, you know, we're having discussions on things that you've read and listened to, and it's quite a rich experience. You're not being talked at. You're engaging with, and then. But you can access that from anywhere. So we've had our students. We've had students that are on tour, and we've got students enrolled in our degree course from the age of 17 to 70, actually. So we've had people accessing the course from like Abu Dhabi Airport, or you know, from.
But I guess it's a reflection of how we all live these days as well. You know, everything is so much more accessible, and I think, you know, the really interesting thing, or one of the really interesting things for us, is that it opens up that that possibility for international students.
Definitely.
You know, living anywhere in the world, studying a degree in piping or traditional music, or you know, the BA Applied Music, and I think it's just a really exciting thing. And I think, you know, fair play to you guys for kind of leading the way with that. It's a great course, and I just did a lesson with Finlay, McVicar, and Ailish, who's teaching with us now and doing a great job. And
that's right, Ailish was on the Applied Music.
Yeah, and Ellie
McLaren. Yeah.
So I mean, where do you see the future of it? I guess just growing and developing, other new things happening.
Well, you know, I'm pretty passionate about the role of program leader, and I also do lecturing and organising applied music. I'm passionate about it because it's always changing. So I'm used to change. No residency is the same as the last one, you know. Yeah. So we've always got new creative tasks, new partnerships, new opportunities for collaboration. We work and team up with organisations on other universities with students to do things like a creative collaboration. Like I was just talking earlier about working with some film students in Senegal that we were doing, and our students were writing music to go with their films, inspired by a Scottish folktale, which was then translated into French. And you know, we kind of we create in some ways. Sometimes they can seem like complex tasks to help you develop your creativity and your collaborative skills, as well as your musical skills, and so, you know, you get really kind of rich friendships developing. So, but going, you know, we're also involved in the MA Music in the Environment, which is the same model, but for a master's level, and again, that's always been international. So for this year, it's just this year that we've started the international side of things with our piper in Florida, and So, I mean, when you say where are we going in the future, well, I think what next is more. Well, this is the kind of launch of our kind of partnership. So this is now. In terms of announcing that HND progression possibility, but yeah, I'll tell you what next is quite exciting. Actually, is we are going to be launching an upskilling module any day soon for people that are interested in learning about music sync and placement. So. Yeah.
There you go, watch this space. Yeah.
Watch this space.
I thought you were going to see the moon there.
The moon. Oh, we have talked about that.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to find out more information, what's your website, or where would they go for information?
uhi.ac.uk, and then search applied music or music, and you'll come up with it.
Yeah. And I guess for us, it's the pipingcentre.co.uk. Same thing. It'll be linked up to your thing, and it's I see a really exciting partnership there.
Definitely, yeah.
We might end up back in Barbados again, having a few tunes.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never
know. Anna-Wendy, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for coming in and seeing us here, and look forward to more interesting things in the future.
Thanks.
Thank you.